respected. If you keep sacrificing your dreams, your peace, and your happiness just to make everyone else comfortable, one day you will wake up and realize you spent your entire life taking care of everybody except the one person who needed you. You. And by then, the time you lost may never come back. There comes a moment in every person's life when they stand in front of a mirror and ask a painful question. What happened to me? Not what happened to their job. Not what happened to their marriage. Not what happened to their finances. What happened to them? Because somewhere between responsibilities and expectations, between helping others and pleasing everyone, they slowly disappeared. Maybe you've been there. Maybe you're there right now. You wake up every morning thinking about what everyone else needs. You think about your family. You think about your boss. You think about your friends. You think about people who don't even think about you. And while you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, nobody notices that you're getting tired. Nobody notices that you're struggling. Nobody notices that you're slowly breaking. You know what's dangerous? Not failure, not rejection, not even heartbreak. What's dangerous is forgetting yourself. Because when you forget yourself long enough, you begin living a life that doesn't belong to you. I learned something powerful many years ago. People will gladly accept your sacrifices. They'll accept your time. They'll accept your energy. They'll accept your kindness. And many of them won't even realize what it's costing you. Not because they're evil, because they're focused on their own lives, just like you're focused on theirs. And that's why you must learn a lesson that changes everything. Think about yourself too. Notice I didn't say think only about yourself. I didn't say become selfish. I didn't say stop caring about people. I said think about yourself too, because you matter. Your dreams matter. Your health matters. Your peace matters. Your future matters. And if you don't believe that, life has a way of teaching it to you the hard way. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who spent 20 years making sure everyone around him was happy. He worked overtime so his family could have more. He canceled his own goals because someone else needed help. He put his dreams on hold again and again. Every year he promised himself, one day I'll focus on me. One day became next year. Next year became 10 years. 10 years became 20. Then one morning he woke up and realized something painful. The people he sacrificed everything for had moved on with their lives. His children had grown up. His co-workers had changed. His friends were busy. And there he was, older, exhausted, wondering where his own life had gone. That story hurts because it's true for millions of people. They spend so much time building everyone else's future that they never build their own. They become experts at helping others succeed while secretly feeling disappointed with themselves. And here's what I want you to understand today. You were not born just to survive. You were not born just to pay bills. You were not born just to carry everybody else's problems. You were born with gifts. You were born with purpose. You were born with dreams. Those dreams weren't accidents. They're part of who you are. The problem is that many people have been taught that putting themselves first is wrong. So every time they think about their own happiness, they feel guilty. Every time they choose themselves, they feel selfish. Every time they protect their peace, they apologize. But think about this. If your phone battery dies, can it charge another phone? No. If your car runs out of fuel, can it take anybody anywhere? No. If you are emotionally exhausted, mentally drained, and spiritually empty, how long can you keep giving to others? Eventually, you have nothing left. And that's why taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary. The strongest people in the world understand this. They understand that rest is productive. They understand that boundaries are healthy. They understand that saying no sometimes is an act of self-respect. You don't owe everybody access to your energy. You don't owe everybody an explanation. You don't owe everybody your peace. Some people will call you selfish the moment you stop sacrificing yourself for them. Let them, Because people often become uncomfortable when you stop making your life about their convenience. The truth is, you cannot become the best version of yourself while constantly abandoning yourself. You can't build confidence while ignoring your needs. You can't create happiness while neglecting your own heart. And you certainly can't fulfill your purpose if you rage in for spending all your time living someone else's plan. I want you to imagine something. Imagine meeting yourself 10 years from today. The future version of you walks into the room. The question is simple. Would that future version thank you? Would they thank you for taking care of your health? Would they thank you for protecting your dreams? Would they thank you for believing in yourself? Or would they ask why you spent so many years worrying about everyone else's opinion? Would they ask why you kept postponing your happiness? Would they ask why you treated your own life like it was less important than everyone else's? That's a powerful question. Because one day, the future becomes the present. One day, tomorrow arrives. And when it does, you have to live with the choices you're making right now. The good news is this. It's not too late. It doesn't matter how many years you've spent neglecting yourself. It doesn't matter how long you've been putting your dreams on hold. Today can be different. Today can be the day you remember who you are. Today can be the day you start valuing yourself again. Today can be the day you stop waiting for permission to become the person you were meant to be. Because at the end of your life, you won't regret the chances you took to grow. You regret the opportunities you ignored because you were too busy living for everybody else. And the moment you truly understand your value, everything begins to change. Not overnight, not instantly, but little by little, your life starts moving in a new direction. A direction where you finally matter too. The moment you begin thinking about yourself, something strange happens. Not everybody celebrates. Not everybody understands. In fact, some people may become upset. Why? Because the version of you they were comfortable with was the version that always said yes. The version that never complained. The version that always gave more than they received. The version that ignored their own needs to satisfy everyone else. And when that version starts changing, people notice. You start protecting your time. You stop answering every unnecessary demand. You stop carrying burdens that were never yours to carry. You stop apologizing for having dreams. And suddenly people ask, what's gotten into you? Nothing got into you. You finally woke up. You finally realized that your life belongs to you. That's one of the hardest lessons many people ever learn. You can spend years trying to make everyone happy and still disappoint someone. You can sacrifice everything and still be criticized. You can give your best and still not be appreciated. So if criticism is unavoidable, why not build the life you truly want? Why not pursue the dream that keeps calling your name? Why not become the person you've always wanted to become? I remember hearing a story about a young woman who spent most of her life seeking approval. Every decision she made was based on what others thought. She chose a career to please her parents. She stayed in relationships because she didn't want to disappoint anyone. She said yes when her heart was screaming no. From the outside, everything looked perfect. Inside, she felt empty. One day she sat alone and asked herself a question she had avoided for years. If nobody judged me, what would I actually want? That question changed everything, because for the first time, she wasn't thinking about expectations. She wasn't thinking about opinions. She wasn't thinking about fear. She was thinking about herself. And sometimes that's exactly where transformation begins. Not with a giant breakthrough. Not with a dramatic moment, but with one honest question. What do I want? What kind of life do I want? What kind of person do I want to become? What dreams have I buried because I was afraid? You see, many people are strangers to themselves. They know everyone else's preferences, everyone else's goals, everyone else's problems, but they don't know their own heart anymore. Life becomes a routine. Wake up, work, worry, sleep, repeat. year after year, until one day they realize they're existing, but they're not truly living. I don't want that for you. I want you to understand that your dreams deserve attention, not someday, now, because tomorrow is a promise nobody has. Every day, people postpone their happiness. They postpone their goals. They postpone becoming who they were meant to be, and they assume there will always be more time. But life doesn't work that way. Life moves fast. One day you're saying, I'll start next year. Then suddenly 5 years are gone. 10 years are gone. And the dream that once made your eyes light up has become a distant memory. That's why you must stop waiting. Stop waiting until you feel confident. Stop waiting until conditions are perfect. Stop waiting until everybody approves. The people who accomplish extraordinary things rarely start when they're ready. They start when they're scared. They start when they're uncertain. They start when they have doubts. Because they understand something important. Action creates confidence, not the other way around. Every successful person you've ever admired had moments of fear, moments of insecurity, moments when they questioned themselves. The difference is, they kept moving anyway. And that's what I want for you. Movement, progress, growth. Even if it's slow, even if it's uncomfortable, even if nobody believes in you yet. Because every step you take toward becoming better is a vote for your future. Every healthy decision, every disciplined action, every hour invested in your dream, every boundary you set, every time you choose self-respect over people-pleasing, you're building a stronger version of yourself. And here's something many people never realize. Your relationship with yourself sets the standard for every other relationship in your life. If you don't value yourself, people notice. If you don't respect yourself, people notice. If you constantly abandon your own needs, people notice. And often, they treat you accordingly. But when you begin respecting yourself, something shifts. Your posture changes. Your energy changes. Your decisions change. You stop begging for acceptance. You stop chasing validation. You stop shrinking to fit into places you've outgrown. Because confidence isn't about thinking you're better than anyone else. Confidence is knowing your worth without needing permission from others. That's a powerful place to be. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's built one decision at a time. One promise kept to yourself at a time. One act of courage at a time. You know what destroys confidence faster than failure? Breaking promises to yourself. When you tell yourself you'll start tomorrow and don't. When you tell yourself you'll work on your dream and don't. When you tell yourself you'll take care of your health and don't. Little by little, trust in yourself begins to disappear. But the opposite is also true. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, trust grows. Every time you show up when you said you would, trust grows. Every time you choose discipline over excuses, trust grows. And eventually that trust becomes confidence. Not loud confidence. Not fake confidence. Real confidence. The kind that comes from knowing you've survived difficult days. The kind that comes from knowing you're becoming stronger. The kind that comes from knowing you're no longer abandoning yourself. I want you to hear this carefully. You are allowed to have goals that don't make sense to other people. You are allowed to pursue a different path. You are allowed to outgrow environments that once felt comfortable. You are allowed to become someone new. Growth often requires leaving behind old versions of yourself. And that's not betrayal. That's evolution. The caterpillar doesn't apologize for becoming a butterfly. The seed doesn't apologize for becoming a tree. And you should never apologize for becoming the person you were created to be. The world doesn't need another copy of someone else. The world needs the best version of you, not the exhausted version, not the fearful version, not the version controlled by other people's expectations. The real you, the bold you, the focused you, the determined you. And every day you delay becoming that person is a day you postpone your own greatness. So stop asking whether you deserve to prioritize yourself. You do. Stop asking whether your dreams matter. They do. Stop asking whether your life has value. It does. The question now isn't whether you're capable. The question is whether you're finally ready to believe it. There is a silent battle taking place inside millions of people every single day. Nobody sees it. Nobody hears it. But it affects everything. It is the battle between who they are and who they could become. Every morning they wake up with potential. Every morning they wake up with possibilities. Every morning life gives them another chance. Yet many people spend that chance fighting against themselves. They doubt themselves. They criticize themselves. They compare themselves. They convince themselves they are too late, too old, too broken, too inexperienced, or too unlucky. And slowly, they become prisoners of their own thoughts. But I want to tell you something that can change your life. Your greatest enemy is rarely another person. Most of the time, your greatest enemy is the voice inside your head telling you what you cannot do. That voice has stolen more dreams than failure ever could. That voice has destroyed more opportunities than rejection ever could. That voice has convinced good people to settle for less than they deserve. The saddest part is that many people believe it. They treat every negative thought like a fact. They assume every fear is reality. They assume every doubt is the truth. But what if it isn't? What if the voice telling you that you're not good enough is lying? What if the voice telling you it's too late is wrong? What if the person you've been been waiting for your entire life is the person staring back at you in the mirror? Think about that. For years, maybe you've been waiting for someone to encourage you, someone to support you, someone to believe in you, someone to rescue you. But what if the breakthrough begins when you decide to become that person for yourself? Because there comes a point where self-belief becomes a responsibility, not an option, a responsibility. You owe it to yourself to believe in the possibilities that exist within you. You owe it to yourself to stop speaking to yourself like an enemy. Imagine if every day someone followed you around repeating your worst thoughts. You'll never make it. You're not talented enough. You're too far behind. Why even try? You wouldn't tolerate that person for 5 minutes. Yet many people tolerate that voice in their own minds every day, and then they wonder why they feel stuck. Your words matter, especially the words you say to yourself, because your mind is always listening. Your mind hears every excuse, every criticism, every fear, every limitation. And over time, it begins accepting them as instructions. That's why changing your life starts with changing your inner conversation. Instead of saying, I can't do this, say, I'm learning how. Instead of saying, I'm not ready, say, I'll grow through the process. Instead of saying, I'm too late, say, my journey is unfolding at the right time. These aren't just positive phrases. They're choices. They're decisions. They're declarations about the direction of your life. And every great transformation begins with a decision. I once heard a powerful story about a man who spent years blaming everyone else for his circumstances. He blamed his childhood. He blamed his boss. He blamed the economy. He blamed bad luck. No matter what happened, someone else was responsible. Then one day he realized something. As long as he blamed everyone else, he gave everyone else control. The moment he accepted responsibility, he took his power back. That doesn't mean everything was his fault. It means he stopped waiting for others to fix what only he could change. And that realization changed his future. Many people misunderstand responsibility. They think responsibility means carrying guilt. It doesn't. Responsibility means recognizing your power, the power to choose, the power to change, the power to grow, the power to respond differently. When you start thinking about yourself, you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you start asking, what can I do about it? That one shift changes everything. Victims focus on circumstances. Leaders focus on solutions. Victims focus on obstacles. Leaders focus on possibilities. Victims wait. Leaders act. And every one of us has both voices inside. The question is, which one we choose to follow. You know what separates extraordinary people from average people? Not intelligence, not talent, not luck. It's consistency. Extraordinary people continue after motivation disappears. They continue after excitement fades. They continue when progress feels slow. They continue when nobody is watching. And that's because they understand something most people never learn. Success is rarely built in giant moments. It's built in ordinary days. The days when nobody applauds. The days when nobody notices. The days when quitting seems easier. That's where character is formed. That's where greatness is built. And that's why thinking about yourself isn't just about feeling good. It's about investing in your future. Every book you read, every skill you learn, every healthy habit you develop, every hour you spend improving yourself, those are deposits into the person you're becoming. Most people want results immediately, but nature doesn't work that way. A tree doesn't grow overnight. A mountain isn't formed in a day. A diamond isn't created in an hour. Everything valuable takes time, including you. Give yourself permission to grow. Give yourself permission to make mistakes. Give yourself permission to be a beginner. Too many people quit because they expect perfection. But perfection isn't required. Progress is. Small progress is still progress. Slow progress is still progress. Invisible progress is still progress. Every step counts. Every effort matters. Every day you choose growth over comfort, you're moving closer to the life you deserve. And there will be days when you feel tired, days when you feel discouraged, days when you question whether it's worth it. On those days, remember why you started. Remember the person you're becoming. Remember the future you're building. Remember that every difficult season eventually passes. Storms don't last forever. Pain doesn't last forever. Failure doesn't last forever. But the lessons you learn can last a lifetime. Sometimes life breaks your plans because it has bigger plans. Sometimes doors close because better doors are ahead. Sometimes setbacks are actually preparation. And that's why you must keep faith in yourself. Not blind faith, earned faith. The kind that comes from surviving every challenge you've already faced. Look at your life. Think about everything you've overcome. Think about every obstacle you thought would destroy you. Think about every difficult chapter you survived. You're still here. You're still standing. You're still fighting. That means there's more strength inside you than you realize. And maybe that's the lesson you've needed all along. The person you've been searching for isn't somewhere out there. The courage you've been waiting for is already inside you. The strength you've been hoping to find is already within you. The future you've been dreaming about is waiting for the decisions you make today. Because the moment you truly start believing in yourself, the impossible begins to look possible. The difficult begins to look manageable. And the future begins to look brighter than your past ever was. As we come to the end of this journey together, I want you to sit quietly for a moment and think about your life. Not the life people expect you to live. Not the life others have planned for you. Your life, the one gift that was placed in your hands the day you entered this world. For too long, many people have treated themselves like an afterthought. They have poured into everyone else's cup while allowing their own cup to run empty. They have carried the dreams of others while abandoning their own. They have spent years searching for permission to become who they were always meant to be. But today, that search ends. Today, you remember something important. You matter. Not because of your money, not because of your status, not because of your achievements. You matter because you are here. You matter because your life has purpose. You matter because there is something inside you that the world has never seen before and never will again. There has never been another you. There never will be. And that means your dreams deserve attention. Your growth deserves commitment. Your happiness deserves consideration. Your future deserves investment. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is a myth. Life isn't waiting for you to become fearless. Life is waiting for you to move despite the fear. Stop waiting for everyone to understand your journey. Some people will understand. Some won't. Keep moving anyway. Stop asking for permission to become greater. You don't need permission. You need courage. The courage to choose yourself. The courage to believe in yourself. The courage to invest in yourself. The courage to protect your peace. The courage to walk away from what no longer serves you. The courage to pursue what sets your soul on fire. One day, years from now, you'll look back on this chapter of your life. And I hope when that day comes, you won't see a person who kept shrinking to fit other people's expectations. I hope you see a person who finally stood up and said, "My life matters too." I hope you see a person who stopped doubting and started believing. A person who stopped surviving and started living. A person who stopped waiting and started acting. A person who finally realized that the greatest investment they could ever make was in themselves. Because here's the truth. The relationship you have with yourself will last longer than any job, longer than any friendship, longer than any circumstance. You will spend every day of your life with you. So make that relationship a strong one. Respect yourself. Trust yourself. Forgive yourself. Challenge yourself. Believe in yourself. And most importantly, never abandon yourself again. The world will always demand your attention. People will always need something from you. Responsibilities will always exist. But through all of it, remember this simple lesson. Think about yourself always. Not because you're more important than everyone else, but because you are important too. And when you finally understand that, everything begins to change. You walk differently. You think differently. You dream differently. You live differently. And little by little, day by day, decision by decision, you become the person you were always capable of becoming. So as you leave this message today, make a promise to yourself. A promise that you will no longer put your dreams at the bottom of the list. A promise that you will no longer ignore your potential. A promise that you will no longer treat your own life as less valuable than everyone else's. Choose yourself. Believe in yourself. Work on yourself. Invest in yourself. Because the future version of you is depending on the decisions you make today. And one day, when you finally arrive at the life you've been building, you will be grateful that you stopped waiting for permission and started believing in your own worth. Your story is not over. Your best chapter has not been written yet. And starting today, that chapter begins with one powerful decision: to think about yourself, value yourself, and become the person you were born to be. Thank you, and never forget, you are capable of far more than you can currently imagine.